Boom. Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back. It's been a long and interesting, well, I guess it was 2 weeks, but yeah, it almost feels longer. It almost feels longer. So let's let some people get back in the room. We are back. Hooray, hooray, we made it. And, thank you guys all for joining me once again tonight. So today's show, I'm just deleting all the comments from last show that we had, which was a lot. Actually had a lot of people, had a really good response for the last show, and that was, what's your biggest struggle? So I'm going to encourage you guys all to leave it in the comments. Tell me what your biggest struggle is. And in a little bit, I'm going to put a link in the comments as well. And you guys could even come live. Maybe if somebody wants to discuss something that they're struggling with and they want to come live, maybe I can help them out and get them fixed up right here on the show live. So with that being said, I want to mention a few things. And one of the things I definitely want to mention is, I don't know if you guys seen Rum Barber's video yet, but I was so happy to see this video. But anyways, it was a great video. He did the best clippers, and he uses input from like a lot more people than himself. So like I really have come to look at Rum Barber's videos as like a really good source that you can trust. And he named some of my favorite clippers. They got some great. I don't want to blow it, actually. I think you guys should go and watch Rum's video on it. I don't want to blow it, but all I'm saying is your boy's company, Gamma, keeping me in keeping me from going homeless. And using my code and everything that you guys have been using. My code Eddie gets you 10% off, and they did really well in his video. So he compared them with everything that's out there, the latest and the greatest. And furthermore, tonight I need to spread some big, well, small. I want to spread the word on this small little unit. I'm really coming to like this thing. I really don't know how the hell I am just now figuring this out. Maybe this is something that some barbers have figured out a long time ago, having this little thing here. But I'm going to tell you guys right now, it's fire, and I'm going to give away one of these before the end of the program. So, all right, let's see how many people we got up in. Jeez, we got 33 people up in here already. Cool, man. Cool. What is up, everybody? What up, O-Dog? What up, Ethan? Ethan said he's got a big question tonight. Fire away, my friend. We got Wisconsin in the house, Jacksonville in the house. We got Adam in the house. Julio, Jay Blends. Oh, that's great, man. Jay Blends, I'm dropping that comment right here. Boy, he said, Gamma Stylecraft has won me over. I'm selling my cordless master and T-outliner for the Ergo and Evo. Listen, if everybody in your shop had an Andis master, it would be like walking into a machine shop with people operating grinders every 6 feet because they're so loud. I mean, I'm not hating on the machine's performance. It performs pretty well. But I'm going to tell you what, man, those things are loud. And if you got a guy with a Gamma working next to you, man, it's like whisper quiet. So you ain't going to be scared of no kids, man. It's a good move. So what's up, Mama? Mama's in the house. Believe it or not, guys, I had to fly home. I don't want to talk about it too much, but I had a funeral to go to. It was a real painful ordeal for myself and my family, very unexpected. We were up in New York, broke my heart, man, but we're trying to recover. We're trying to get over it, and it was nice seeing family, even though it wasn't, the greatest circumstances, but we're back. We're back in Florida. We're back in action. And one of the other things that I wanted to talk about before we get into your struggles is some more of mine. So during this trip up north, I was obviously depressed. And then I dropped a video, and I checked it on Thursday. I was looking for a little pick-me-up, a little boost. And I noticed it in like 4 days or whatever. It only got like 500 views, right? And I got a little salty about that because I got like 85,000 subscribers. And that's all it did, So let me see if I can access some of these comments because they were really good. And I fully intended to reply to all of you guys because I was really boosted by your words of encouragement So if I have the ability to pull these up real quick, let me go to my studio and go to my comments. I didn't realize that that story thing like expires, but the gist of it, is here. All right. You guys boosted my spirits a lot. And I'll tell you what, I actually wrote something. I don't know what exactly I said, but I said something to the effect of like, when you put so much work into your videos and you get so little out of it, it almost makes you feel like you want to quit. I don't really understand uh, what was going through my head when I said that, because normally I'm positive and I'm upbeat and I really don't care that much about the views. Like, I don't really let it get to me. But in this moment of weakness, I allowed the fact that other people are succeeding to such an extent kind of crush my own joy. And MMA even wrote something nice in there. He wrote, comparison is the thief of joy. And it is. It absolutely is. And I tell you guys not to do it in the shop. So how am I sounding when I'm being like hypocritical and saying that, you know? So I do see other barbers that do practically the same thing. I see their channels explode. I can't really figure it all out. I don't really care anymore, and I'm going to try my best not to let it bother me. But it's just it is what it is. But like, this is one that Ethan wrote. He wrote, "Hey fam, you 100% the best barber on YouTube, hands down. Just keep doing you, brother. I wouldn't be half as good at cutting if it wasn't for you in these tutorials." And you are an educator, Ed. This is Carly Boo. She wrote, "You are an educator, Ed. You were the first teacher when I transitioned over from a stylist to barber that broke it down in a method that taught me how to do this. I hope you don't worry too much about how many likes you get. I hardly think about that at all. Keep going, dude. Keep going. Peace." And all of these, there were so many. I didn't even respond to any of them. So this will be my response right here. And this was I'll just read just a handful of other ones. Some of these, you're my favorite barber, #1. That was Ozzy. Damien, you can work on my son's marketing firm. He's awesome at YouTube algorithms. No, I didn't even want to go that crazy route. Lori Baker wrote, "Bro, I just came on. I started watching your channel. Don't give up. I've learned so much. I've been doing hair on and off since '97, and I learned so much. You brought the fire back to me, and I started up again. I love the craft of being barber again, even though it's a sketchy time. I'm getting back into it because some of your videos. Don't stop, bro. I worked in an aircraft paint prepper for 5 years. I love that trade too, but I can't do it anymore. I'm going back to be a barber. Much love. You inspired me." So I think that you guys get what I'm saying, and that's basically it. It was a moment of weakness and depression where I felt like I almost wanted to quit when I seen how poorly my channel does in the views, but it really doesn't matter to me, because at the end of the day, I'm connecting with a lot of you guys. What up, Chris? I'm connecting with a lot of you guys, and I do see the comments. I do know that it's made a difference for some of you guys, and I want this to be a positive and encouraging channel. Like, I think above all, like, if I look at what's really important to me as just doing this thing and like the reasons why I do this thing, it's not because I want this arbitrary number or the views or anything like that. Like, if I'm being perfectly honest with myself, I want to see people pick up this torch, this barbering, pick up this flame that I've carried and march it forward into the future and have a better future for yourself. I don't want to see you trapped in some kind of hourly job. It breaks my heart when I talk to people that know what their income's going to be weekly. Like, the fact that barbering is just so cool. It can be just such a surprise at the end of the week. And when you find this success and you find this inspiration, you want to share it with others. And this isn't something that you could tell somebody in a 5-minute conversation. Like, you actually got to go to school for this. You got to learn it. You got to know it. But I want to light that flame and give people that push to go and make their lives better. And I think it's bigger than that. It's bigger than the views. It's bigger than the other little, stuff like the likes and all that other stuff. And, I feel like I got away from that for a minute, just kind of looking at what other people were doing and how good their channels were going and stuff like that. So at the end of the day, my channel is going to stay the same. I'm going to keep doing my tutorials. I'm going to keep being thorough. I'm going to keep teaching. And, you know, I understand that when you get good at this, you might not come back to my channel because you might find some of that information redundant and stuff. But that's why I'm going to drop some of these little vlogs here and there, and some of these little reviews here and there, and just little quick tip stuff and stuff like that, so that hopefully I can keep you guys coming back and keep your attention too. So let's see here. Let's get to some of these comments here. Timothy sounds like, let me see here. I lost my pops recently, and if you ever need someone to talk with, we're here. Your vids and the whole barber came kept my head up, kept me distracted through the hard time. Timothy, I'm sorry for your loss, man. Losing your father is never, it's never an easy thing, man, and I appreciate that you were inspired by these videos, man. All right, let's see. All those other YouTubers do is have good thumbnails and good titles. You know what? You're right. And I got to give some props to my man Steve, who's, I know he's in the house here. He never misses a live. My man Steve is one of my #1 fans, and he has been making me some nice thumbnails lately. So maybe I just need to reach out to Steve and just let the professionals handle my thumbnails. Because I tell you what, when you get your camera, you go to the shop, you carve out some time to film, then you come back and you take your camera and you film yourself doing your voiceover and you make the whole edit perfect. It's a time-consuming process. I get done so many times, man. I just want to whip up a thumbnail and be done with it. But, like, the truth is, like, that's what people are going to see, and I really do need to concentrate a little bit better. So I want to shout out to Steve-O, the Potato Man. He is by far, you know, just awesome person, and he's done above and beyond. He doesn't ask for anything. He makes me thumbnails and does all kinds of cool stuff, and he's got the Eddie's Army Eddie's Army Instagram account, and he helps. You know, he helps me out a lot with that. So if you guys want to concentrate on anything that the channel's up to, or if you want like an update on that, update on whatever the channel's doing, he knows what's up. I kind of talked to him a little bit about it, man. So let's see. Jason, the barber and educated, you are at the top of solid content on YouTube. People support the hype before genuine content. You teach me a lot. I go through the same thing on my channel. Thanks, man. I really appreciate that. I really do. I really do. So I really appreciate that, you guys. Okay, enough about my problems, man. I'm done. All right, I got it out. And it only took me, it's 5:13, so it took me 13 minutes to go on my rant. But I just want to say one last thing. I want you guys to go ahead, start listing me your biggest struggles. I'm going to drop this link in the, bam, and we'll put it right here. Boom. Hey, we got Rum Barber in the house, man. Rum Barber, when you coming back on, buddy? Just listen in the background while editing a video that needs to be out by tomorrow. See, this is the type of stuff that we deal with, man. It's like, it's so hard to do all this stuff on your own, and you guys are always putting up such great content, and, you know, I just love that there's other, like, places that I can go, and places for my people who are watching me that they can go that is a really good, trustworthy source. So for any of you guys who might not know who this is the Rum Barber. These guys are real solid. He said I would always rather have 1,000 people I interact with regularly, than someone that there is no connection with. And that's the truth. You know, we're almost like held to this, like, this weird standard where, like, you start looking at what other people are doing. Like, there's a guy out there, man, I don't remember his name exactly, but his channel's fairly newer, and he's got like 30,000 subs. And he's dropping videos that are very similar in nature to mine, and they're getting like 11,000 views in like 2 days. And I'm like, huh, how about that? You know? But at the end of the day, as long as we're all dropping some good content and, you know, people are learning and people are growing, I think that's just the coolest thing. I just think that's the coolest thing. All right. So I put my link in the I put my link for the guest right in here. You guys can click on that if you want to come on and you want to discuss something that you're struggling with. Feel free to just click that link, and we'll get that up there. It says that the Army has a bunch of love for Rum. We certainly do, and I'll be interested to see his upload, because I know it's fresh. It's so fresh that he's editing it literally right now, and, you know, we'll be checking that video out later for sure. Yeah. So if you guys want to come on, let's talk about Ethan real quick here. If you guys want to come on, you're welcome to join the show. If not, just leave it in the comments. After I zero gap a pair of clippers, they never seem to run as good. They lose a lot of power and don't cut right. All right, so let's talk about zero gapping for a second, because I already know that sooner or later somebody's going to tell me that they can't get the line out, and this is going to follow right along the lines of what Spirio's asking here as well. So let me grab one. Okay, so I got this pair here. Now, one thing, when you zero gap these clippers, to help those of you guys who are going to say you struggle with the line, also, you need to zero gap them. For one thing, is you got to get them as close as possible to your trimmers. So if I grab my trimmers, like, the idea is we want to make really small jumps. So if we're coming right from the skin, our electric shaver, and then we are going to bounce straight to this trimmer, we want to get this trimmer to cut as close as we possibly can, right? So everybody I want you guys to all understand why we're zero gapping, because this is kind of like the trinity of things. We got our electric shaver. We need to keep that as close as we possibly can to the trimmer. Electric shavers are not adjustable. They're just going to cut the hair all the way off. So that's going to take you down to skin. So that means that we want to get this as close to skin as possible. And then also, if we're going to put a line in with this, and we plan on using this machine to remove it, we need to get this machine cutting quite as close as we can get it to this. So that's the whole purpose. Now let's get back to the reason why he might be struggling with his zero gapping situation. And by the way, Rum Barber also has a podcast called Zero Gapped, and it's also dope, and they go really in depth on the machines. So one of the problems that you might run into if your machines are not running properly after you zero gap, in all likelihood, it's probably crooked. Okay, either your stationary blade or your cutting blade is not running parallel to each other. It's so important that these both run straight, because if one of them is crooked, that can throw the whole thing off. That can make it cut like total garbage. Another reason why your machines might not be cutting well, whether you zero gapped or not, is they may need a little bit of oil, and you might have to put some oil on them from time to time, because it's just like a slow and gradual process that usually creeps up. Most people don't notice it, and it might be just right after you zero gapped it, they still might need it. So that's probably the most likely reason why they won't cut well. Or you may have gapped them a little bit too far, and if they're ever sticking out beyond the stationary blade, beyond the top blade, they're definitely going to cut, possibly cause irritation, and probably not cut great. So when you get right down to it, if you've exhausted all these other possibilities, you can try a new blade, and that'll probably solve your whole problem. Because there is times when you're doing stuff, when you're zero gapping stuff, you might drop it, you might chip it, you might have some kind of little problem with the blade. So that's the whole reason behind why we're zero gapping them, and that's a reason why if you do zero gap them, it doesn't work always great. So Steve-O wants the Unos. Steve-O wants the Unos, does he? All right, so let's see what Uproar said. Uproar says, I zero gap my slim lines, and I feel like I had them really hitting crisp lines. If I applied too much pressure, they were leaving redness and burns. Then I redid it, and they're not as crisp. So what it sounds like you may have set it back a little bit too far. Okay, there's a really good chance that you may have had it just right. Now, one of the things that's going to cause any irritation, doesn't matter how close or how far away the blade is all the time, is the angle that you attack. So, like, if this blade, the one that moves on the bottom, if this blade is held a little bit too flat to the surface, then more of that blade is touching the skin, and it's going to be causing a more of an irritation. So when I come in to touch somebody with a pair of trimmers that's set really tight, if you touch them like this, very good chance that you're gonna irritate them. Now, if you were to angle this up a little bit higher, much less chance that you're going to irritate them. So in all likelihood, that pair of trimmers that you had set, them Slimline Pros, they were probably set pretty good the first time. It's just a case of working on your pressure. So one of the things that I'll do when I'm working on my pressure is I'll actually use like one of my other fingers, maybe a knuckle, and I'll sort of just kind of use that as an anchor, and then I can kind of just tip it and ease it in, so that I can reduce the amount of pressure I put. A lot of barbers have a really heavy hand, and it's not the end of the world, but it is something that you need to address. And a lot of times, like even myself, me, Chad, Johan, my whole crew, we cut other people's hair, and we get so used to doing it that until we get a haircut and we feel someone else being kind of like rough on us, it's that moment, that dawning, like, oh, am I doing this to people too? Like, how's my pressure? Like, don't be afraid to just ask your clients from time to time, like, is that sharp? Does that feel okay? Is everything cool? What up, Louis the Barber's in the house, man? Thank you for joining. So just try that pressure and just ask those clients, because that can be a good way to do it. Robert, I see you, man. I'm gonna get that question. For some reason, my cutting blade seems to be stuck to one side and it doesn't move to the side. Okay, this is actually something I forgot to mention with the zero gap too. There's a lot of play in these holes. There's enough play to move this whole blade around. All right, and generally speaking, companies sort of intended this play to be able to zero gap it up and down. However, it will move side to side. So if you have your top blade set too far off to the side, then that means that it's not going to work properly either. So what I like to do is I like to kind of snug up one bolt when I have it pretty close to how I like it, and then I'll put my 2 fingers here, I'll turn it on, and I'll feel that blade. It's moving back and forth, and it's hitting both fingers, right? And I'll be able to feel if it's hitting one finger a little harder than the other. And also you can look at it straight down this way, and you can sort of see. But you need to make sure that there's enough room for it to move back and forth. And there's been more often than not when I've had an issue with my zero gapping, because I'm really good at getting it to the height I want it. More often than not, when I have an issue with zero gapping, it's usually like a lateral issue. So I'll just loosen that up, slide that over a little bit, tighten it back down, and you'll be rock solid. Artie the Barber's right, and go Bills. Listen, among my gripes over the past 2 weeks, one of the other terrible things that happened is the Bills lost one of the worst losses of all time. It had to be probably as painful to me as losing that Super Bowl, that 4th Super Bowl. All right. Robert Tangi Jr. I struggle to blend in the half guard. Now this is really the guard that can make you or break you. I'm telling you now, the half guard can make you or break you. And that's the reason why a lot of barbers skip it. So I'm not sure what normal process you usually use, what your normal process is, but I would recommend that you skip it for the reason, and if you guys watch my guard video, I have a chart and they explain to me everything, and I use decimal points to show you in numbers that are a little bit easier to see, but there's actually a little bit of overlap between the half guard. So a half guard open is actually a very small amount, I can't remember the number, it's a very small amount longer than a number 1 closed. Okay, so what that means is we can probably get rid of the majority of our line with that number 1, and then come in with the half guard, and it should be a very minimal amount of work that you do with it. And if you use that process, you're going to find it's just a lot easier. There's a reason why, it's not me, but I think there would probably be thousands of barbers, maybe millions, that skip the half guard. I think there's a vast majority of us, and that's one of the reasons we do it, is because if we go straight to the half guard in order, it's just very easy to mess that up. Johnny O wrote Raider Nation, baby. It actually seems like the Raiders, the Bills, and a couple of these other teams are going to be we're going to be gunning for that bye, that first round bye in the playoffs, and I don't think we're going to get it. But I hope we do. What up, Yasmin? She's in the house. Thank you for joining, my friend. Thank you for joining. Better late than never, So let's see here. Spencer is asking, how do you deal with a client who has a bad patch of hair that is light and it's affecting the blend? This is a good question. And Spencer, there's plenty of times where people are coloring their hair too, and you're trying to match 2 different colors. But if they have a light patch of hair, it's a possibility that they might want their hair. You might want to leave their hair possibly a little bit longer, But at the end of the day, you're not going to be able to get the blend perfect if it's just like two different colors that are throwing off the issue. Like if the issue is just the colors, then that's not really your fault. If you do the blend the best that you can, I mean, at the end of the day, it's up to them how they want their haircut. And this is part of the reason why I love cutting men's hair, because they're decisive. They'll be like, do a number 2 on the back and sides, scissors on top, done. But when I used to do women's hair, they'd come in, they'd be like, I think I want to trim. No, you know what? I want to cut it all off. You know what? I think I want short hair like yours. No. Just a trim, just a trim. I came in here for a trim. And we would do this back and forth, and they'd be very indecisive. So getting back to your question about the color thing, it's probably a good chance that your client knows what he wants, and he might know that he has difficulty in that issue. But if you want to use one little technique, I would say a texturizing shear around that area possibly could smooth that out just a little bit more. So, Ozzy, would you recommend using the Legends? I'm using the designers at school. Ozzy, I think that you'll be fine with your designers. Don't think that getting the Legends is going to make any real big change to you. Now, what I'll say is, Wall has been kind of doing this for a long time. They've been putting out the same clipper over and over again for years and years, and not much has changed. So if I go from the designer, the Super Taper 2000, Icons, Sterlings, Seniors, take your pick. There's probably 15 other ones that I could name if I sat here and really tried. But the main thing that you're getting with that was you got some that have 3 holes and some that have 2 holes. Me, personally, I prefer the 2 holes because I found them really easy to zero gap, and I like the blades a little bit better. But if you're just in school, I wouldn't recommend wasting or spending any extra money. Like, that's not much of an upgrade. So I would say save your money and maybe get yourself something cordless in the future. So, oh, this is a good one. Johnny O. Eddie, how did you pick your shop name? I'm looking for a good shop name. Johnny O, I'm telling you, you know who's good at coming up with names? One of my barbers, Chad. Yo, just shoot him a message on IG, and he'll come up with some great names of stuff. Like the other day, Gamma's creating something. They asked me for some name ideas, and I asked him to Chad, and he's got all these great names. He really does. But a lot of people think that I came up with this name, Uptown Barbershop, on my own. Uptown Barbershop was what the name of my shop was beforehand, because it happens to reside in the Uptown Plaza. Now, I decided to kind of take the Uptown logo that I had made, and I integrated it to be what it is. So I just kind of liked the ring of it, so I kept it. But one thing when it comes to naming shops is I would suggest that you guys name it something universal, because if you name it Johnny O's Shop and you build all your branding around that, you sink a lot of money into that, you advertise, you create you do whatever you do, you have to figure that someday you're going to probably want to sell that shop. So I would name it something more universal so that someone can pick up the torch and keep running. Because if the next guy who buys its name isn't John, then maybe he's not going to want the same name. So I would just pick something, and you know what? At the end of the day, as long as you're happy with it and you like the branding around it, it doesn't have to be anything crazy. I mean, it could be the street, the city that you're in, or something to that effect. All right, let's see here. Should I zero gap the Andis Envy LI cordless from 614? Yeah, I would absolutely. You know what though? Let me bring that back. J-Rock, what I would recommend you do is go buy a Wall wedge blade, or you could buy a stagger tooth blade. Those fit on the Andis Envy LI, and I really, really liked that setup. I thought that was a really killer setup. So I wouldn't recommend that, because the blade that came with the Andis Envy LI, and I'm going back in memory, it was a weird and unique shaped blade. And I actually kind of liked it a little bit to some extent, but I was never happy with how close I could get, and it really made skin fades kind of a tough thing. That's good. That's good. I like that, Steve-O. He said make it universal and welcoming. I like that. Yo, Steve, you got to come tell your story, man. I heard you got your shears back or something, man. I gotta, I gotta hear that, man. I'm putting it in there. All right, so we got some kind of. Let's see here. I struggle when someone has really long hair on top, comes in and has the hair in a bun all day. It's tangled. What do you do if you want to do scissor work but can't wash his hair? Yo, this is a really, really good question because this type of stuff happens all the time. Now, in my shop, now I don't really deal with that too much because most people, they have enough. They come in and they're usually in good shape here. But that was something I dealt with when I worked in Niagara Falls because you got a lot of people, their hair can be really nasty. They're maybe not washing as well. It was a poor area, and these type of things happen. I remember working with this one girl, and she used to be like, listen, it'd be a state requirement that we wash this here thing, and maybe you can even offer them a shampoo, on the house. But if you're in an area or if you're in a time crunch, what I have done before, I'm not above this. I'll take a comb, I'll walk out to that person who's in the waiting room, and I'll ask them to start combing it out for me. That's because I don't have time to comb out, a giant knot of hair. I will just go in there and I'll just go ahead and say, hey, you mind combing this out for me? Or if it's a mother, you can say that to them too. That's something that I have done before. Not the most professional thing in the world, but it is one. So, all right, let's see here. Really, the barber wrote, my teacher at school really gets on me to use my 14-year-old and his masters. I won't be purchasing a pair when I finish barber school because they're too loud. Oh, yeah. Should I just use my 50 cal mag? I if you're struggling, there's a good chance that, if you're struggling, there's a good chance that you might, there might be a reason why your instructor wants you to use your Andis, and that could be because it has the little notches. Hey, what's up, man?
What's up? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. What up, Ivy?
What's up, Eddie?
Yo, Ivy heard that there's gonna be a giveaway later, so he slid right
No,
in. I know you got the good
none of
luck,
that.
man. Where's your
You
rabbit's
know,
foot?
it's somewhere in the house. Somewhere. I'm not gonna bust it out today.
Yeah, man. So what's going on, man?
I mean, I was gonna. Well, first of all, thank you for even allowing me to be on the live. This is dope, super dope. But the second piece is like my struggle is clipper over comb. I don't know if I just suck at it, if I don't have a steady hand for it. I've tried different combs, different clippers, everything you can think of. I resort going back to like larger guards. It just makes my life easier, but I want to be able to be better at clipper over comb. That's my struggle.
Yeah, clipper over comb is probably one of the hardest like hurdles to get over. It's like there's almost like this mental block in front of you and you can't really figure out how to do it, but in all reality, you probably do know how to do it fine, and it isn't really an exact science either. It's sort of like you're going to cut a little bit off and you're going to look. And the name of the game is to not cut too much off that you can't still fix it. So if you go in there and
That's my
you're like
problem.
taking off like a whole ton of hair each time you do it, it's going to make it really hard for you to double check it, and then afterwards you're going to be like, "Oh God, I took it in a little bit too
Yeah,
far." So there's just a couple things you want to concentrate on. That'd be rolling the comb out back towards you, and just taking off a very small amount. And I know you've been rocking with the academy forever, and I know that you've
yep.
probably seen the clipper over comb tutorial in that video. But I pretty much just went through each and every hold. But one of the other real important things is I'm looking for a comb, but I don't think I got one right here. But is when you come into your comb has to be the strongest object because as soon as you begin pushing your comb, like if you come in a little bit hot, right, and you hit that comb, well, you're probably going to wind up cutting a little bit more hair than you mean to. So, what I like to do is I like to kind of brace. Sometimes I'll use my pinky. It'll just depend where the client's head is or how far away I'm trying to hold the comb. But would you say you struggle when the client has like a number two on the top and you're trying to blend it into the like, or would you say you're struggling when the client's got like fairly long hair and you're trying to do a full cut clipper over comb?
No, I've never tried doing a full cut clip over comb. I usually use it to take like if I have somebody who hasn't had a haircut in a couple of months, I'll use a clip over comb to just take a bunch of bulk off, and then I'll go deep and actually do the haircut. What I genuinely struggle with is to take it up to a two. Like
Hmm.
I'm that person that takes too much off. Even though I'll try
Yeah.
not to, one after I'll do little by little, it just ends up happening where I take too much off.
And you want to also make sure that your comb is thick enough,
Yeah.
because if you use like some of those clipper combs, they could be like a little thinner. They're almost like a number one in length,
Yeah.
if you were to measure like the back. But like you've seen the ones that I like to use, I like that size. But I bet you I could give you some homework, and I bet you if you actually do this, you'll
Okay.
start to get it. All right. So what I would recommend to do is maybe get a mannequin. Maybe you could get one off eBay that's like already cut on and has like say fairly short hair, like one that someone already went to town on. It's not going to matter for you. And practice a couple clipper over comb cuts along the sides and back. But mainly, what I want you to start trying to do is flat tops, because
Okay.
if you start practicing some flat tops, you're going to start getting the motions down really good where you're going to be like, oh, you know what? If I was able to make that flat top flat and I got that sides to fit in just well, it's really going to help build you some confidence. And I bet if you were to do, say, 4 or 5 flat tops, which might mean that you might need to get 2 mannequins, which is cool because you'll be able to practice on the sides too. Because like if you get a mannequin with a ton of hair, I mean, don't waste it. Give yourself some opportunity to practice some other cuts that you might want to work on. But if you can find some that have fairly short hair, are you in school right now, or are you?
I'm not. I'm not. You know what's funny is, and I think I've told you this before. I was a barber in Mexico back in the day when I was younger. I
Okay.
moved back to the States. I thought about going to barber school. It didn't happen. I ended up getting a job. I love my job to death, but I gave up barbering for the longest time, just cutting hair. And I went back into it. You and a lot of other people just kind of like motivated me to cut hair again.
Mm-hmm.
I cut all my homies, all my family. Everybody gets a fresh cut for me. You know what I mean? So I genuinely cut a good amount of hair, but it's not
Good.
my everyday job. You know what I mean? I got to be honest about it too.
And that's yeah, and that's where it'll come time to get your reps in. Like
Yeah.
it's hard to get your reps in, especially if like you're probably really wanting to give these guys a great haircut, and
Yeah.
going out of your comfort zones might not be a good idea. It might not lead to that great haircut because you went out of your comfort zone
Yep.
before, ran into some issues, and you're like, you know what, man, if I keep it cool here, I'm not gonna struggle. I'm gonna be good. So you don't really get that rep on those people because you're not trying to mess that up. But what might
True.
be what you could do is if you got like some kids that you cut or some younger people that you cut that it's not that important, maybe you tell the parents, you're like, hey, this is a technique I really need to start working on. Maybe instead of doing it from a 2, you do it from like a 4 to give yourself a little bit of room to just try it, and just try to like get in there and just feel that out. But between doing
Yeah.
that and doing some flat tops and maybe scooping up a couple mannequins, a lot of times, these schools are full of mannequins. Like my school, man, they would leave so many. They wouldn't even cut all the hair off. They would leave them at the perfect length to do a flat top because you can squeak a flat top out of practically, I mean, the smallest amount of hair. So a lot of times these schools would just have these laying around and nobody's even doing anything with them. I bet you probably could go down there and be like, hey, can I buy a couple of these off of you? And they'll probably be like, buy them. Shit, you can just have them. You know.
All right. My
But
looks like my nephew all getting flat top.
that's right, man. He'll be joining the
Yeah,
Marine Corps next.
I know. Oh, they better be down.
Right on, man. Well,
I appreciate it, Eddie. Thank you, bro.
thank you, man. I appreciate you coming on. You take it easy, buddy. Always good to see you.
You too, bro. You too, bro.
Later. All right, guys. That was Ivy Mack. All right, so let's get to some of these other ones. We got Lindsay, and Lindsay says, when learning to become a barber, what was something you learned or were taught that really improved your cuts? The aha moment. Wow, this is a really good question. Can I open this up to the panel? I want other people to answer this question because I think this is really good. I'm gonna put this back up for a second. Um, that aha moment when you really improved your cuts, and for me, I'm going back a while, but I think that aha moment for me was, and I think it's gonna be different for everybody. Like it really depends what it is that you struggle on, and when you get over that struggle, that struggle, that's the thing that it's going to be for everybody. But for me, I got to think about that for a minute. But while I do, let's welcome Steve-O back to the house. What's up, Steve-O? Yo, I see you got some setup behind you over there. I see you got a little shelf. Oh, look at you, man.
Yeah, copy and
I see you. I see you. Got the gamma on deck.
yeah.
So tell me what's going on, man.
Yeah. So Chad will have told you, won't he?
Yeah, Chad told me a little bit, but tell everybody else what happens. You got them all back?
Yeah.
All right. So how did this happen? He got all his stuff stolen, by the way. Uh-oh. He's cutting out a little bit.
Just bear with me a sec.
Let's see if he can right the ship over there. He's cutting out a little bit.
All right, still nice.
Yeah, I got you. Go ahead.
Yeah. Yeah, so I was checking, Facebook. They have all the selling sites. And I just kept checking and checking, just putting scissors in. And they finally come up. Now, I didn't know if they were mine or not, but they ended up that they was mine. So
unbelievable.
The good thing about it was that I only paid £10 for them, and I wasn't going to argue with them or anything.
Wow.
I just £10.
All right. Because all right, so he's cutting out a little bit. I'll explain so that they could hear. Basically, Steve got all his stuff jacked, and the police, they found some of it, but they didn't find all of it. And one of the things he was really distraught about was he'd gotten a pair of sheer police shears, which he paid a pretty penny for, and they stole those, and the police never recovered those. But he was trolling around on Facebook, checking out who's selling what, and he finds them selling these shears that you paid well over $300-400 for both, right?
Yeah, $400. Yeah.
He finds an idiot selling them for $10.
£10. So I don't know what that, about $15 or something.
Unbelievable.
Over in America. So
I would have just took them. I would have said they're mine, and I would have just took them. But I mean, for $10, look, you got your stuff back at the end of the day.
That's it.
If the guy knew what he was selling, he certainly would have sold them for a lot more. I mean, obviously.
Yeah.
And you know what? You should have reported him too, because he's probably connected with however your stuff. He'll come steal them again and make another 10 off you.
yeah, maybe.
Oh, I hope not, man. I hope not. I hope you take all your stuff inside the house.
Yeah. I mean, I've got it all in at the moment.
Good. That's great, man. Yeah, well, I wanted you to come on and tell that story, man, because I think that's fantastic. I'm happy to hear that you got your shears back, because Gamma was quick. Gamma was quick to help you out with the other stuff, but I don't think there was anything.
Big time.
There wasn't anything I don't think we could do for them shears, because they're just so expensive to make.
Yeah, definitely. But the main thing is I've got them back. I've got my setup back, and the only things that I didn't get was brushes. I bought another one, but I wanted the Gamma brush. The fade brush.
Yeah, they're sweet. They're really cool.
But in England, they're £26, so that's over $30.
Oh, that's crazy.
Whereas on the US Gamma, they're
cheap.
$10.
Yeah, they're cheap. They're worth every bit of that. Yeah.
Yeah. But Rum Barber being awesome, he said he's going to send me one after lockdown.
Oh, that's so cool, man. That's so cool.
So, I appreciate that. All
right, one last question. How much longer are you guys going to be locked down over there?
We come out of national lockdown on the 2nd of December.
You don't got that much longer.
No, but we're going into a tier system. So we've got tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 for different, like areas of the UK. So we fall into where we fall into tier 3,
Wow.
which is high. So
Wow.
we're pretty much still in lock. But barbers can open, non-essential things can open again.
Wow. Well,
But
man,
it's
I'm
still
wishing
can't
you
meet
luck,
with
dude.
family.
I hope you guys could get back to business. I'm not a big fan of these lockdowns at all.
Nah, but
Yeah.
I'm bridging that, so that's keeping me going.
That's right, man. Well, I hope they get it popping, and I hope you do it on the DL if you got to, man. Get that paper,
Yeah, that's it, mate. Yeah.
All right, my friend.
Take it easy anyway.
I appreciate you for coming on, man. Thank you again. Always good to see you,
right,
Steve.
cheers,
And thank you
dude.
for thank you for the thumbnails, and thank you for all the hard work you do on the academy.
No
man. I
worries,
appreciate
mate.
you.
No,
All right.
just whenever you need them, mate, just give me a shout.
Awesome, man. Thank you. I'm going to.
All right.
Later.
All right, mate.
Oh, I might have cut him off. Sorry about that, Steve-O. Okay, so, anyways, this is my piece on it. I was just gonna say about the lockdowns. I was just in New York, and it's one thing to talk about the lockdowns and say that this, that, and the third, but like to actually see people who are struggling financially for reasons that are beyond their control. And to just see how dangerous and poor my old neighborhood has become, it's absolutely sickening. And I disagree with these lockdowns 100%. And I hope that everybody can get back to just making money, because being sick, broke, and dangerous, none of this makes any sense to me. But thank God, I'm in Florida, land of the free, and we are in really good shape down here. So we don't plan on closing no time soon. So, all right, let's get to some more of these questions. I got about 15 minutes left, and I feel like this is a pretty good show. I like doing these struggle ones, and probably next week I think we're gonna get back to let's go to the blend. Drop it in the comments. Sound off in the comments what you want next week's show to be about. We can do it on scissors. We can do it on the blend. We can do it on clipper over comb. Why don't you guys guide me a little bit and let me know? And however much you say, somebody has a very funny name. I don't want to put it up because I'll probably get like some kind of copyright thing. But yeah, so anyways, if you guys want to drop it in the comment, let me know what you want this next video to be about. Vinnie just walked in playing his harmonica for the dog. That's my Uncle Vinnie. Vinnie boy. That's my Uncle Vinnie. I'm running out of uncles, but I love that one a lot, man. That Uncle Vinnie's the man. All right. So, any tips on staying safe while cutting in bad areas? Actually, that is an interesting question, Daniel. And I'm probably the last one on earth to tell you what to do in a bad area, because what I think he's talking about is not so much bad areas of the haircut, but I think he's talking about bad areas of the neighborhood or whatever. I would probably avoid cutting hair in those bad areas, but if you have to cut hair in that bad area, obviously there's certain stuff you could do to protect yourself. But I would probably look for a place that was a little safer, because I personally live in probably one of the safest towns. Not to say bad stuff doesn't happen here or can't happen here. It's just they do a really good job of keeping this area safe. But obviously leaving your tools in certain shops, like back when I used to work in New York, there's certain stuff I wouldn't do. I wouldn't leave my tools in there. I would definitely take my money with me. And, I would definitely say, as this sounds like a move that whatever, but I'm telling you what, you should keep some OC spray. Like, really. I've seen people been sprayed by mace. I've been sprayed by mace. OC spray, non-lethal, spray it in somebody's face. It takes all the fight right out of them. And nobody's got to get killed. Everybody could go home. That's probably the best thing. I actually keep it with me as well. So, just saying. All right, so let's see here. Really the Barber says he sent a critique. Did you send a critique? I'll check it real quick. I'll look. But yeah, so what do you guys want to see? So that's where that damn email went. It's funny. I opened my emails. I was in the middle of sending a draft and I freaking lost it. Oh wow, you got a bunch over here. So let's see here. Which one am I? You really? Because I don't think your name is. Wow, you guys sent a whole bunch over here. All right, you know what? Let's finish up with some cut critiques, and we'll get through it. Adios, Mr. Senior. Thank you for coming, my friend. Spirio says, I have a. Oh, okay. This is a good question here. I have a struggle. He's building a good and steady clientele. I also cut hair at home. I'm 17. What are your views on this? Yeah. This can be tough. OC spray is like mace. It's like mace for anybody who doesn't know what OC spray is. I don't even know what that stands for, but they call it OC spray. I don't know if it means like over the counter or whatever. But let's get back to building the business, because whether you're 17, whether you're 27, whether you are just getting into this business, everybody has to go through this time of building. And I would just say, like, even if you don't want to show your haircuts maybe as much online, maybe you feel like, you know, you might feel like you're struggling a little bit. Even if you don't want to do that, post some shots of you in the process. Let some people know what you're doing, and ask your clients that you do have, reach out to the clients that you do have, and mind them like your tree. So you're gonna go to the clients that you do have, and you say, listen, man, is there anybody else you can bring me? What's up, Manny?
What's up, man? How you doing?
I'm doing good, man. Your haircut grow back?
Hold on, you're breaking up a little bit here. My internet's trying to catch up with you.
I can hear you good, man. I said, did your haircut finally grow back? Just so you guys know, Manny came and seen me for a haircut. He drove all the way over.
Dude, I can only hear every other word. I don't know why.
Well, he got that
Let me hang up and
DSL.
try again.
All right, hang up and try again. All right, cool. So Manny's got that DSL over there at his house. So yeah, let's give this guy a follow, man. Give Daniel Mosley a follow. Can you follow me on my Instagram? He's 16 years old, Barber from Memphis. I got you, man. If you want to follow me on my IG, just follow me and unfollow me, and I'll follow you back. I'm trying to do a good job of everything, but like the truth is, I watched that show, The Social Dilemma, and I kind of quit social media almost entirely. Like, I make very sporadic, quick trips to my IG. I'm trying not to let things consume me, but let's see. Is this a little bit better?
This is terrible. I'm having a bad internet day. Why?
Oh no, man! I can hear you great.
Yeah, but I hear you like a robot, like like that.
Oh, that ain't gonna work, man. It's okay, man. Call back next week. We got you.
All right. Let me get off of this.
All right, buddy. Take it easy, man. Good to see you.
All right, man.
That's Manny, the bathroom barber. My IG is not up on the screen. It's Uptown Barbershop, Naples. I used to have it sitting up here somewhere. But it's also in the link of every video. So if you actually just open the link down below, just hit the drop-down box. It's one of the first things that I put in there. So you guys can do that. All right, I'm going to do a cut critique or two. You guys can send your questions. I'm going to keep hammering them out for this next 5 minutes. And here is really the barber. He's the one who requested me. And you know what, man? Your cuts are improving, buddy. Your cuts are improving. Okay, so he's been sending me photos for a while. We've been able to kind of check these out for a while. I'm going to open this up a little bit, and I can actually see this a lot better. So what I would tell you to do, first and foremost, with this gentleman here, it looks like you did a pretty good haircut. All the hair looks to be cut smooth, looks to be cut even. Now, this is something you could struggle with sometimes with gray hair, especially in the sideburn region. It's better for you to just take that. Don't be afraid to take that all the way down to bald to get rid of all them little gray hairs. It gives the client more time for his hair to grow back and look like he's going less, gray. And at the same time, it'll make your blend come out a little bit more. So I would say don't be afraid to take that electric shaver up on that taper a little bit more and wipe that hair completely out, because you know how to blend and you know that you're going to be able to get that out. So that's all I would really say about this one. And he's got a cool chain and a nice pendant. And just, I like to look at stuff in the background. So I can see you got some mannequins up, and we're putting in some work over here, keeping it clean. And I'm liking it, dude. I think you're getting better, dude. I've been watching you send me stuff for a while. Oh, here's the before picture. I didn't see that one. All right, so that's the before and that's the after. And I'm going to be honest with you. I think you took about 10 years off this guy. What do you guys think? You think he took 10, maybe 10, 15 years off? At least. So, yeah, no doubt about it. Really nice cuts. Just like I said, don't be afraid to go up in there. This is Alex. I'm gonna put this one up here. This is Alex. I'm probably not gonna say that, but Ayala. I've been cutting my dad's hair since the beginning of the pandemic, and this is the first cut I've done for him using quality clippers. I use zero gap corded magic clips and his Profoil shaver. How can I improve on the cut? This ain't bad. All right, let's drop some of these in here so you guys can see. Oh, these are good pictures too. All right, I didn't know they were going to come out that big. So let's see if I can fit a couple of these in here. Now let me squeeze it. Okay, so the back looks pretty clean, and if I'm going to critique you, I think we need to do it on the sides. So here's a side that we're going to be able to improve some. But I'm going to tell you right now, Alex, this is a good cut. You didn't make many big mistakes, and this is something that a lot of people would wear. I'm going to bring that one back in a second here. And I'm sure on this side, he probably already knows that he's got a little line right here. So let's actually go back to the other side now that we've showed off the whole haircut. I'm going to go back to this side, and we can talk about this for a second. All right. First off, this gentleman here has some really straight hair on the sides anyways. And it's going to be the type of hair that's very difficult to blend and shows every little mistake that you might make. That being said, I would probably have begun the initial guideline a little bit lower, and I wouldn't have dropped it so hard in the back. Because if you actually look at this in the back, there's no reason to drop it so far back because we're not really doing a drop fade here. And it caused a lot of hair to build up around the occipital bone, which he already kind of has a good size occipital bone, and it's only being accentuated with extra hair here. So I would have made my initial guideline in the very front. I would have made the initial guideline probably a little closer to my hat band, just below the parietal ridge, and I would have just made a nice straight guide around the back. And it's clear that you know how to blend, and go from there and execute your steps from there. And I'm sure that you probably could get this thing, looking just a little bit smoother. But at the end of the day, I don't feel like that was a bad haircut at all. And I think that you did a nice job with it. There is a better way to fade faster, Luis Sanchez. That'll be my last critique, you guys. I'm gonna hit you guys. We'll do some more critiques on the next show because this show's just about over. Is there a technique for fading faster? I usually take more time detailing. And generally speaking, it would be hard for me to. It would be hard. Tank be chopping in the house. Another YouTuber up in the house. Thanks for stopping in, buddy. And I follow Tank too. And you guys should check out Tank be chopping. What was I saying? So we're talking about fading a little bit faster. And there is ways to improve your speed, and I'll just name a few. One, clipper over comb, definitely going to help you fade faster. Two, get a detachable clipper, and don't debulk with your trimmers, because one of the fastest ways to save time, honestly, is using the right tools at the right time. So using a trimmer to debulk, will it work? Yes. Will it work slow? Yes, it's going to be slow. So if I put on my detachable and I rip through that hair, I'm going to move really fast. A good quality electric shaver, that's going to get you down. A good quality detachable clipper, that's going to get your time down. And, if you really analyze where you're making mistakes, the only other thing is your process. So let's just make sure that you guys are rocking with your process. You have an established process that you occasionally deviate from, but you have a process. Like me, Whenever somebody sits down, I know exactly what I'm going to do, exactly what steps I'm going to do them in, and I just get busy executing things in the fastest way possible. For instance would be, I'm coming through my detachable clipper, I'm putting in my initial line. I noticed that some hair around the ears, I'm not able to get to it because this machine's too big. I ignore it entirely. I just leave it there, and then I come back with a better tool for the job because I know it's just going to waste time if I'm just trying to get this thing and fix it in there, and there's no real reason for that. Grab my trimmers, bam, make sure he's totally knocked down, and be real thorough, and don't be on your next step until all those steps are done. Because if let's say that you decide to skip that altogether and you go right to your electric shaver, you're like, bam, 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 my electric shaver's not cutting that hair, it's too long, I got to go back to this, and now you're wasting time again. So there's definitely a lot of places to go for time saving, but having an established process that you will use on the majority of people, and then that will be what you work off of under certain circumstances. So when I see somebody come in with like maybe like I don't know, we'll say Asian hair where it's really, really straight, and I know that hair might be kind of tough to blend at certain lengths, that means that maybe I'll start my blend a little bit higher and work my way down or something like that. Like I have established things that I'll deviate off of, but on the whole, I'm always using my same, process for the majority of people. So, all right, man. I appreciate you guys all. It is 6:01. This is the fastest hour in media, and I want to thank you guys all for coming on in here and boosting my spirits because honestly, it's been a bit of a depressing week, but I promised you guys a giveaway. Don't think that I'm about to leave and forget your giveaway. So let's do this real quick. I'm just going to pick somebody. I never do it like this. I think I'm just gonna pick somebody. Tank be chopping. I appreciate you, man. He throws up the super chat. That's the man right there. Boom. Hold up. I gotta find my sound effects. This is the first time someone's donated in probably like 5 shows. I didn't even really talk about it. But yeah, man, I really appreciate that. So, all right, we gotta pick somebody. So sound off in the comments here. You know what, man? I gotta do this. There's certain people that've been rocking with me for a long time, and they've not won anything. And I'm gonna go ahead and I'm just gonna pick somebody right here. All right. You know what? I'm feeling it. I'm just gonna do it. Spirio, you the one, man. He wrote, I'm the one, and you are the one. Because I'm going to tell you why I picked Spirio. I'm going to tell you guys why I picked Spirio. Spirio has been rocking with me for a long time. He's left a lot of comments. He's never won any of the lives. And a lot of the lives, I don't even think he's had time to be in. So, Spirio, shoot me over your information, man. I'm going to send you out a Gamma Uno, because these things are just so clutch, and it's really something that everybody needs in their kit. And I really think it's just a total. It's so funny, man. I just find myself constantly grabbing it and doing it. And Prince, listen, Prince. This is nothing to do. This is nothing to do with you. It wasn't that I didn't want to pick you, and it wasn't because he commented or anything like that. It was literally just because he's been following me for a long time. He's never won anything, and he just happened to comment right there in that moment. And I said to myself, you know what, man, Spirio is gonna be the one, and that's the only reason. Where are you from, Spirio? So we'll give him a shout out, and I'm gonna be giving away more of these. I'm gonna talk with Gamma, make sure they're in stock, and next show. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna get one out to you. But listen, man, all you guys in here, I see you, man. I really do see you out here all the time, and sooner or later you're gonna win something. This is the first time I've ever just picked somebody randomly like that. Like That's the first time I've ever just picked somebody randomly. I've almost never done that. I always do this numbers game and stuff like that. And I was going to do that, but I was just kind of overwhelmed. I was just kind of overcome with the thought that, there's so many people in here who follow me so regularly and do so much positive stuff that when I can, I want to try to reward those people. So Spirio is from Greece, so it looks like it's going to be another international battle through customs, but we're going to get that sorted out for you. So give me your address. I'm going to get that little thing out to you, and we're going to do that. The next one, I appreciate you. I appreciate you, man. Shout out for being there for us and being real. I do appreciate that, Prince. Thank you so much. So the rest of you guys, before I go, I just want you to sound off on one last thing. Just one last thing. Do you think Mike Tyson is going to win tonight? Or do you think he could lose? Now, I don't want to stir the pot and tell you what I think yet, so I just want to hear a couple of these questions. But and what about Logan Paul? Because YouTubers be fighting nowadays. Now, I would love to see MMA Barber fight Logan Paul. Because I think MMA will whoop his ass. I do. But I'm just curious, do you guys think it's possible for Mike Tyson to lose tonight? And that's how I'm going to ask the question. Because I don't think it's possible. I don't think it's possible for Mike Tyson to lose. I would never want to get hit by Tyson in a million years. Me and Chad were going back and forth. Chad thinks that Tyson's going to lose. I'm putting that out there. He thinks that Tyson's going to lose. And I was trying to explain to Chad that if Tyson was to hit you in the ribs, you could just die. You could just die. So, I don't know, He said he should retire, and so should Roy Jones Jr. I'm pretty sure they did retire, and they're back. They're saying Logan Paul's got a chance. They're saying Logan Paul, look, Logan Paul, to me, I how could I possibly assess his ability to fight? I've really only seen like a handful of his podcasts, but I mean, I guess if he's fighting somebody else who's not really a professional fighter, I don't see why he couldn't win. He is a heavy favorite, by the way, and he wants to fight Antonio Brown. I don't know if anybody's keeping up on this, but I seen something where he was like 1,000 point or minus 2,000, something like that against Antonio Brown. Now that's something I would love to see. Mike can't lose a 2-minute fight. I gotta say, you're right. There's no winner in the Tyson fight. They won't announce a winner, and they're not allowed to KO? What? The fight hasn't happened yet, right? I don't know. How can you tell Mike Tyson he can't win by KO? I mean, isn't that the way that like the majority of his fights have ended? Isn't that the way? But all right, you guys, thank you for entertaining me in that. 8 minutes past my bedtime with this. I'm going to go spend some time with my family. I love you all, and I thank you guys greatly for coming in here and showing some support. It's been a huge boost to my morale because, like I said, it's been with the Bills losing, going back home, the funeral, all this stuff. It's been a lot of it's just been a lot of a cloud hanging over my head, and I feel I feel really great about this show, man, and I'm super happy that you guys all joined. So with that being said, this is the YouTube Barber Academy. I'm Mr. Eddie Barber, and I can't believe that Tyson would lose. But if he's not allowed to KO, I don't know how you stop Tyson from knocking somebody out. He bit someone's ear off. All right, y'all, I got to go. Peace.